How's it going? I'm back with a very exciting video. This one is going to be about the ERS kind of LEO trooper side of things. This will be part one of the scripts and things for the troopers on the server. Starting with the whole ERS thing. In the past, I said that we're going to be using ERS, and I even said it kind of at the beginning of this. We've gotten away from using the emergency response simulator. And originally the plan was to use our own in-house script that handles like the AI callouts and things like that, but just never really got it to work properly. And I found a script. It's by the same dev that makes our AI ambulance script that we have. Those who played on the server before know what the helicopter ride is like. Also beforehand, the ambulance before we switched to helicopter. That script has some updates. Don't know how well there are now, but the little bit of testing I did with the police jobs seems to work out pretty well, and we'll see that in a little bit. So there's going to be new scripts, some old scripts that you're used to seeing, a bridge between kind of bringing those together. Some have been changed and edited, and we'll start with the LuxArt vehicle control. A lot of servers use this one. We've used it for many years, but we have switched to the fleet version of LuxArt, and I made some changes to the UI and how some of it all functions and works. So default key is O, but you'll go ahead and open up the menu, and for starters, the profiles. So in the settings, we can sit there and say these vehicles will use these sirens and so forth, but for me, I'm not doing that. I want to give people the freedom of customization. That's what this VireX and everything is all about. It's all about giving you guys the ability to do pretty much whatever you want. Give you the customization and not limit players to certain things. So we got all different sirens, and you can click on the different profiles. Button. I keep pressing F5 instead of F6. But so got all the different profiles to change the tones and things like that. And then speaking of tones, you can go to the tones tab and you can change the horn to any of the packs that we have available. So you're not just limited to what the sound pack is for that siren pack. And of course you can change primary, secondary, auxiliary, and all that. And then down below here is where you have the freedom to customize and make anything mix and match. Because as you see, I have the Code 3H2 and then the Omega 90 mixed in here. But all of the tones from all of them are in here. And there's some extra sound packs with different alerts, yelps, hyper yelps, warnings, high and lows, things like that. Just kind of just mix in, so you really customize your siren to be unique to something for you, more or less. And if you don't want to have the extra tones, if you want to just have like the base ones, you can clear the tones and they'll clear it up. You can rename, so forth. Behavior. You got the local override, peer overview, rumblers and things like that. This is how you turn off the air horn interrupt and siren park kill and all that stuff. HUD, this is how you can move the little HUD, resize it, turn it off, backlight, so forth. Audio, these are the little beeps and clicks that the control box makes when you turn on the lights and use the buttons and things. Storage, this is how you can save, load, reset, factory reset, so forth. So if something's not acting properly, you can kind of fix it there. Then info is just the current version and things like that, but this ain't entirely true since this is a custom edit to the LuxArt fleet. Next thing we'll talk about is the radios. So there's different skins for the radios for civilians and things like that, and then each like department has their own like custom radio skin and things like that with like the logo and saying it's property of whatever. and turn on the radio with this here. You'll see the available channels, which these are going to be changed and later on. I just haven't changed it to the proper channels. But so for the Trooper radio, currently we can only join channel 20 through 22, and then 30 and 31. And you got two options. You got your primary and secondary channels, so you can be in two channels at once and hear both of these channels. And in the settings, there's a way to make it where if it's just a single like earpiece, somewhere or less, just mono would be the thing I'm looking for. So like your left ear will be primary, your right ear will be secondary channels, so you kind of know which channel's talking what. You got your volume control, and then you got leave, priority, lock channel. For the troopers and things like that, we don't really need to lock the channel, but for the civilians, they can lock the channel and things like that, so randoms just can't join in on the channels. Priority and alert. Alert's going to be your panic button, and then priority is you can change it makes the channel into priority, which there's two ways to toggle priority. We'll show the second way in shortly. But it will do the beep, 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 and then every few minutes or so, it will do the reminder beep that, you know, hey, it's in priority. It says at the top that, hey, this is priority. You can go ahead and clear it. Got members, you can see who's in the channel, and you also can move people around and things like that with this. So it's settings, so you got the radio volume and all that stuff, volumes. Radio animations. So if you have a chest mic on, you can change it to the chest mic animation if you're doing a shoulder and so forth. The audio, routing, size, sounds, your nickname, so forth, move it, reset. A lot of little options in there. The radios are really advanced, so any like noise going around the player that's talking the radio, you're going to hear it. So if there's like a fight going on, gunshots, things like that, that will transmit over the radio, so you kind of know what's going on. If like a player's in a helicopter or an aircraft, like you'll hear the engine of the aircraft in the background. I see a local's having some trouble over there. But so we got that. There's other little devices. There's a lot to the radio that's still being worked on and set up and tested. So we have like radio towers, which this one behind us needs to be moved and changed since we got new maps and things. But there's a few of them placed on the map, and these can be disabled, so that way comms can't be communicated and things like that. It makes it harder for us to do our jobs. Granted, we really won't use a lot of these features for what we're currently trying to do, but this is more or less just future proofing for when, you know, we can possibly do a lot more and be more than just the limited RP server that we are. So got that, got a whole bunch of stuff with the radio. And the next thing we'll talk about is the MDT tablet thing. So you can use the item, and this is the radio dispatch, where it kind of defaults to open up to. And you can see all the different channels and things like that. And click into it, you see how many people's in the channel, which I'm the only one on. So you can see odd on duty and speaker. So radios have two options. You can either have an earpiece, which is tied to an item, or it's going to be in speaker mode. So everyone around you is going to hear what's transmitted on the radio, and they'll also hear you transmit to the radio, so they know what you're saying into it. But if you have the earpiece item, which you're not going to see like the earpiece on a player, since that's tied to clothing and that takes the mask slot, and some people might have a mask on and that's going to remove their mask for the earpiece, so I just wanted to avoid that and make it an item. So this will let dispatch know and other players know, hey, this player doesn't have an earpiece in their speaker mode, so I need to watch what I say over the radio. So you got different toggle patch. You can start priority here. You can move people in this channel and whatnot. So a whole lot of customability there, and things like that. You got prisoner records, which this is more or less on the side of the prison. Then to open up our other MDT, which we really won't be using this much currently either, since we won't be writing reports and stuff like that when we pull people over. It's just more or less just here's a fine, move on, not really keeping track of anything like that. But that's how we open up that. Instead of using the item constantly, you can open up the radio menu and open up the tablet that way. So that's 3D dispatch. Of course, radio is going to open up your radio here, but it doesn't match currently the item that you have for your radio. And then the jobs tablet's what we're going to be working on shortly. But this is more or less a temporary kind of testing. And eventually we're going to have our own MDT. But currently we don't need it. And I got to get in the habit of not making things that we don't need for what we're currently doing. Because I just go down rabbit holes and I spend a whole lot of time working on something that's not super important. So I'm thinking about it this last transmission. So if I don't transmit for 15 minutes over the radio, it's going to send out an alert as, you know, checking for my status. So, which that's changeable. We can change it, increase it, decrease, sort of thing like that. But this is more or less an officer safety thing. But we'll go do the jobs tab and get on duty. So we will go into the vehicle. Alright. See, the locals don't like the new train station. See, like I said, this radio tower is going to be moved and changed some point. And also at some point I'll do a whole like Sandy tour about all the maps and all the changes and things like that. But we'll go up here, third eye this guy, which this hasn't been edited or changed yet. So you walk up to him, third eye him, hit yes sir, and then we'll sign in. And for our server purposes, we're done. We don't need to worry about vehicles, uniform, things like that. Clock out just makes us back off duty. So we're just going to just leave. Since we don't need to do anything else, because our vehicles are in the garages, equipment's in the armories. Got like 5 stations around the map, so an armory is not too far away. Sit back in this parking lot. So then we'll go to the tablet and hit jobs tablet. So every time you log on, you're going to have to go to this and create a team if there's not already a team. But if there's a team, might as well just try to join. Hopefully the person will add you. We should all just be in one single team anyways. It's not limited numbers. We'll just do that. So I'm on a team now. Now we just got to wait for a call. So while we wait, we'll go see how the traffic stop system works. So get behind a vehicle. Turn your lights on and the vehicle stops. Nope. Say that and they drive off, but I don't think that's the script doing that. There we go. Okay. So it just took it a second to register I'm pulling over. So go up, third eye, check ID and license. Gregory. It matches. No warrants. Inspect the vehicle. Which is highly illegal because we have no probable cause to search the vehicle. But vehicle's clean, nothing found. There's a whole bribe option. You can ask the person to step out, but not seeing anything, so we're going to just release them. I thought he was about to back into my car. So an active alert came in, and it's down in the city. So this is another little thing that will happen and pop up. So the first officer to go in this area and find what it says to go do gets the reward and gets the payment. There's a bunch of new UI elements and things like that to the waypoint GPS. You can change the color, move them around, turn them off, and so forth. Still a little bit of tweaking to do with all of these elements on here, but it's just an upgraded version of the GPS script that I showcased in the first devlog. So as is en route to that, a bank heist popped up, so we'll go into the jobs tablet and we can click start mission, in which this will waypoint us there. We can also hit respond through the 3D dispatch. So here we pull up, which currently the UI kind of gets covered up, but we are in negotiation mode. Suspects have anxiety, so closer we are, the higher it goes. It reacts to if we have our weapons out, how we are doing certain things. So it has a negotiation timer. If you let the negotiation timer go forward and through, they'll release the hostages, and then they'll just get in their car and try to drive away, and it turns into a pursuit. Sometimes they may kill the hostage. I've ran into that, even though the negotiation and let them do their thing was done. But longer we take to do this, we slowly lose more and more money. So we'll go take care of the one on the bike first. Alright. Well. Oh. He gave up. Well, lost the other suspect, which will just happen when they go separate ways and you're solo. But you can cuff them, and third eye, and search. Drop the weapon and some money. Which some of the stuff is hard to figure out where it wants you to target it to pick it up. So now we'll go dispatch plus transport. Which the default version of the script, it's a tablet item as well. But since we have an MDT and already kind of have things tied in, I just did it this way to add it. Yeah, it kind of adds a little bit of an extra step, but not really too much of an issue. So we'll escort the person. Put into the vehicle. Search the bike. It's clean. We'll call for a tow truck. Do a little animation. There's the tow truck. Get out of the animation. Okay, well, they gotta stay there until I go grab the hostages. So another thing with these vehicles, we have the ULCs, so you can toggle on the different parking modes to have your lights be steady burns. These vehicles, that's all they do, but we get more advanced vehicles, we'll be able to actually have a little bit more customization with those sort of things. So we'll dismiss and save the hostage. Saved as I just knock them over. So now we'll go back to the van. So depending on what the call out is, it's definitely set up for more than just one person to do. And we'll dismiss and finish. And made a little over $4,000. So there's like 80 different missions currently, which we can make our own, add new ones, things like that. But it's definitely more in-depth, more advanced than anything I was going to be able to do in the amount of time that I was going to allow myself to make a script like that. And it's nice that it's more compatible with a server that's just not for ERS. So that was the part one of the LEO side of things. Still a lot of things to kind of tweak and work on, especially when it comes to the AI backup. They weren't really much help there at all. I don't know if it's open or it's somewhere. It'd be nice to make it where the AI backup could actually arrest and search and things like that for you. So especially if you're alone or not many people on, they can kind of handle other parts of the call out. But regardless, it was at least something for us to do when there is no racers on, or just want to do other things than just go around and pull racers over. But thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.